Hello again, friends, and you are our quarantine friends, and welcome back to another edition of Jim Cornette's Drive Thru right here. Wherever you are, you're at home. That's where you are. Practicing social distancing, something that the host of this show and the star of this show very much endorse. I am the great Brian Last. I am the host of this fine program. I'll be reading your questions, which are sent on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru and via email to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com to this man, the star of the drive-thru, the exalted one of the cult of Cornette, Mr. Jim Cornette.
I thought you were going to introduce me as Jim Quarantine.
Oh, that's so good. I should have used that. Damn it.
You should have used that, damn it. Well, now nobody will believe you if you come up with it and try to use it in the future because they'll remember that I said that.
Well, thanks a lot.
Here we are again. We're still at home. We're going to be at home for a while. It's hay fever season. Here in Louisville, by the way, it is the height of pollen, and the Ohio Valley, because of the air inversion or whatever, and et cetera, in the springtime, everybody with hay fever or allergy issues is miserable, and they even give the pollen standing on the weather on the news. And was it Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday was like ultra high, almost off the chart. So people are going around and they're afraid to sneeze. They're afraid to cough. They're afraid to sniffle because it's like an active shooter has suddenly entered the building. People start ducking and covering. I was at the post office. I was the only one in the post office on Friday morning until this woman came in, and she stood like 15 feet behind me. And you know, she's waiting on the next clerk to come up, and she goes, and she said, "Oh, please, I'm sorry, I've got allergies." I'm like, "It's okay, I got you, I understand. We're all in this together. I'm not gonna, you know." But then when she came up to the counter, of course, I slid over a little extra just in case. But we're gonna be here for a while, so that's why we are having such fine programming for you folks to have something to do. I am so fucking jealous of the people who are at home with nothing to do and bored, because I've never been so fucking. I wasn't as busy at Christmas with the orders to the JimCornette.com. By the way, we'll talk about that in a minute, and recording all this extra programming and trying to not just be able to go out and get stuff whenever you wanted, but have it delivered, and I have, you know, my stock together, my shipping supplies, whatever. But thankfully, the state of Kentucky has not only a Democratic governor, but a Democratic mayor, our mayor, Greg Fisher. We have very slow spread. We still have statewide less than 1,000 cases. I think maybe it just might have, you know, lopped over that milestone, but very few fatalities because they shut shit down early. They shut down the bars and the restaurants. And then the mayor, his wife is a doctor, and she got coronavirus and has been self-quarantined at the same city function that Rand Paul got his. You know, so he decided to take extra measures because he sees how easy this can go on. And he was looking, he's doing all his work from home, but he sees these idiots. They're idiots actually taking their kids to playgrounds and parks, and they're playing sports and shit together with each other. So he said, fuck that. We're shutting that shit down. He shut down all the parks, the playgrounds, the sports fields. He said, fuck you, idiots. You're not going to fucking do this shit in my state. We're going to fucking be an example. So that's why I'm feeling like we're going to be around for a little while. Get rid of all those New Yorkers, and then the Kentuckians will take over. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, speaking of the post office, I want to make mention, thank you so much to all the cult members out there that have flooded JimCornette.com with orders over the last week. It has drastically picked up. Remember, I said I was going to be shipping twice a week, and then I said on this past experience I was going to bump it up to 3 times. I don't think I can bump it up any farther. Although I need to. So, guys, I know you want your classic wrestling DVDs and books to read and things to watch in this time. Please allow minimum 3 to 5 days turnaround from the time that I get your order until the time that I can ship it out. I'm not talking about delivery because the post office here, they're shorthanded. They had a couple people that tested positive over at the main plant or whatever, but nobody at my branch has come down sick, but they're shorthanded because several people have taken off. John the Hunchback is 70 years old and has had health issues, obviously being an elderly man and near retirement. And then, of course, there's the hump. So he has told them he ain't coming back till this whole thing's over with. And so they're down personnel. So I have arranged, because I got a little stroke over there. I spent $42,000 in postage at that branch last year. So they try to take care of me. And I've booked my dedicated clerk for 1 hour every morning, early morning, this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I'm trying to do it. But Friday, I took everything that I could get on the dolly in these giant boxes, everything. And when I wheeled in the door, not touching anything, wearing gloves with Purell all over me, covered in Purell like Herb Abrams was covered in Vaseline when he had the cocaine-induced heart attack with the hookers. They couldn't even see me. They just knew that that giant stack of boxes being wheeled in had to be Cornette behind it. So anyway, I'm doing the best I can, folks, but keep it coming. I'm fighting through this thing. We're going to get you entertained for the duration of the episode here. So JimCornette.com. I'm not even going to sell the products. They're selling themselves, but just give me some time and understanding on this. And this is basically what we are doing. Well, you've got 18 shows, for fuck's sake. But you and I, we get up, we either record or fill mail orders or renew our stock for doing same, arrange shows, watch things to review, and then go to sleep, get up the next day, and repeat that. That's pretty much your day? It's mine, right?
Yeah, plus I do a lot of reading.
Oh, fuck. Do a lot of reading. You're just hanging around the house. When do you sleep? I know what you do, and I know what I do, and I haven't had time to read shit, except read up on this goddamn illness that's going around the world.
Every day I make time to read. It's very important.
Well, you should always keep up with your learning. People say that all the time. You should always learn or you'll get left behind.
That's right. Speaking of Herb Abrams, I just finished a great book, High Concept, came out several years back. The story of Don Simpson, the film producer of Beverly Hills Cop and Top Gun and lover of hookers and cocaine. And the whole book is just about films and cocaine and hookers. And it's fantastic. I highly endorse it.
What was the name of it again?
High Concept.
High Concept is highly endorsed by the High Brian Last.
That's right. I wish.
We've got some programming notes. Next week on the Drive Thru, it will not be out on Monday, April 6th. It will be out Tuesday, April 7th, because that will be the WrestleMania review. The show's so nice, they had to promote it twice, split it up. It's too big for one day. It's too big for it's basically Vince's ego is too big for one day, which is why we're getting 2 days of WrestleMania. Boy, him and Dana White, those Trump-loving fuckers, they won't give up, will they? Dana White's coming off like an idiot. Well, if I get coronavirus, everybody's got to go sometime. Well, there's no reason to fucking rush, Dana. I've been a fan of his until I found out he was a big Trump fuck. And now I don't know what
to... He has come across even worse than Vince. I mean, much worse throughout this whole process.
Yeah, because he's still trying to fucking have the regular shows in these arenas and other countries getting around requirements and et cetera, instead of just, doing it on a closed set for his own ego. He actually thinks this is something that should be done. Well, when you got people that are listening to, a guy who stares at the sun during a fucking eclipse, this is what happens.
How do you train? If you're a UFC fighter... And you usually go to a gym.
You do push-ups in your fucking bedroom, I guess. That's the whole thing. It's not like just the fight itself, but these guys have to train and be ready. And I don't see how you can do that and be around a bunch of sparring partners, etc. Fuck you, Dana. For heaven's sake, try to get everybody killed around here. Anyway, but yeah, so that's going to be the WrestleMania review, the drive-through. Tuesday, April 7th, next week. 1 day late because we got to have time to record the fucking thing after that marathon empty. Oh, my God. what is this going to be like? Fucking hell.
It's going to probably be either awful or terrible, but the other thing is, I guess they're doing some matches, like the Cena Bray Wyatt one, supposed to be like on a soundstage or something.
Oh, boy. Well, they got by with it with Goldust and Roddy Piper.
Well, there were people there, though. There were actually people there.
For the last part of it, they fought into the arena. But anyway, yes, we're going to be doing that. And by the way, just real quickly, because you made me watch this. You made me watch it. I didn't want to do it. So is Elias okay after his fucking 40-foot flatback bump off the fucking stage at SmackDown or whatever, do you think? Is he going to be able to make the match?
Well, let me clarify. I made you watch this. I said, Jim, you have to watch this because coinciding with this brief period of time you've watched their programming, it seems that you've really been following this Elias Baron Corbin feud.
Well, it's the greatest thing since Funk and Briscoe.
Oh, yeah.
So the Grand Marshal of the Possum Day Parade attacked the traveling troubadour on a what was that? It's a elevated podium or whatever part of the stage.
Yeah, that's the thing in the NXT, right? Where they
Mauro Ranallo is usually up there. Why do they have to do shit like that nobody is going to believe and is so clearly gimmicked and phony? If he'd have taken a bump 10 feet and actually taken the bump and you'd have seen it and sold it, it would have been a lot better than taking a phony 30-foot flatback bump and there was no blood spatter. He's going to be walking again, I'm sure, the next time we see him.
Let me stop you here because there are many listeners, and based on the ratings, many, many, many listeners who have no idea what you're talking about. So you may want to explain exactly. We've been watching for the last several weeks.
I can't explain it.
Whenever the Possum King, Baron Corbin, comes out, Elias seems to show up with a song and a guitar, and Baron Corbin doesn't really like him. He gets overexcited like a child who's upset, and that led into this angle on SmackDown.
Yes, and he throws him over the thing, and Elias is hanging on, and he stomps his fingers and then takes his royal scepter, which looks like a fucking marital aid for a giraffe or something, and fucking gives him the Iggy, and off he goes, and he flies. The camera is shooting up, and Elias flies backwards and off camera, and then you hear boom, which was either a sound effect that they put in or the actual sound of him hitting the crash pad that he fell on, and then they have a shot from up above after they have a few seconds of Corbin's maniacal grin. They have a shot from above of Elias laying there flat of his back on a concrete floor about 30 feet below, it looked like. And it's just fucking stupid. And now they're doing this empty arena shit. They think that they can start using special effects and camera angles like they're shooting a movie because there's no people there to that. That's the whole idea of the art of wrestling, that even the movie stuntmen cannot replicate what trained quality professional wrestlers do, which is a one-take movie fight scene with people on all four sides of them. Terry Funk himself told me that when they were shooting Paradise Alley, a bunch of the stuntmen were over in the corner making snickers and giggles at the phony wrestlers, and Sylvester Stallone fucking yanked a knot in the stuntman's tail and said, "Hey, you try to go out and do what they do with no benefit of camera angles because there's people on all four sides of you and you've only got one take. So shut the fuck up." But now, instead of it being an art that even professionals in Hollywood cannot replicate, they're trying to do the Hollywood shit that makes it look as phony as the fucking movies. Speaking of phony looking, let's just jump in here with this. Have you heard the AEW Matt Hardy teleportation explanation?
That was one of the questions we had here. I have the explanation.
Well, we're jumping ahead. We have no format for this fucking show today, folks. And by the way, just after a long day of filling mail orders, do not eat a double cheeseburger, drink a Bloody Mary, and follow it up with a Reese cup because you won't get a lot of sleep that night. And so I'm a little cranky today. But they are trying now to say that Matt Hardy wasn't really teleporting, that Vanguard 1, the drone, was projecting, what do they call them, a hologram or a holograph or
a hologram,
telegram or a fucking candygram?
Hologram.
Whatever the fuck it may be. Land shark. Yeah, I knew you'd get that one. The drone was projecting the picture of Matt Hardy in various places, and he really didn't. That's the explanation. Do you see the major glaring loophole in that, Brian Last, or should I elucidate it?
Oh, is there one?
Well, any number you want to fucking chime in on.
That the drone was producing holograms of Matt Hardy throughout the arena? When was he finally at ringside?
Exactly. How the fuck did he just appear there when Jericho was looking in that direction and you didn't see him fucking on his hands and knees crawling behind the seats to fucking show up at the railing? They got so much shit for that because it was so fucking stupid that now they're trying to come up with a rational explanation that could happen in the real world, allegedly, but it still couldn't because they didn't think of the explanation until after they had fucked up. And apparently, from what we are being led to believe by news reports, that was the second take.
Second day?
But it was the second. They did it again.
Yeah.
They had taped it first the previous day, and apparently Jericho just fucking despised it, loathed it even. And so they had to do it again the next day during the show because there's no roof on that building, I've come to find out. It's an outdoor amphitheater type building, so they couldn't do it. I didn't even realize that. They shoot it well. You can't see it. It's a fucking... there's no roof, but so they couldn't do it during the day because it'd be daylight. So they had to wait until during the show they put on a pre-taped match and then did that again and then hustled it up into which maybe explains the lackadaisical editing on that freeze frame when he was there and he was there, but then suddenly Jericho's head goes and then the other way. And
apparently it was the Kip Sabian Darby match that was taped the night before. And when that was in the ring or when that was on the air, that's when they actually taped it on Wednesday. And then they rush back and expertly edit that thing together.
Expertly. Science fiction wrestling. It's fiction, all right, but there's not a lot of science in it. But anyway, that's the explanation for teleporting. As I've mentioned, and I stand by it, from this point forward, we're trying to give you as much entertainment as possible, folks. But if there becomes any invisible contestants, any teleportation, appearing, disappearing, psychic manipulation, or whatever the fuck, I'm turning the shit off. I have to draw the line somewhere.
Have they explained how Matt Hardy saw Abraham Lincoln and Martin Luther King, or how he knew Judas?
I think that was the acid.
Okay.
That was the acid. And somebody said, by the way, it's not purple acid, it's purple microdot. I'm like, oh, whatever the fuck, the purple haze. I don't all through my brain.
In Impact, there was kind of an explanation for why he became this guy. Like, I think his career broke down and he reinvented himself as Broken Matt Hardy, and it explained why he lost his mind. And then he went to the WWE and suddenly he had a mind again. And now he's back here. There's no explanation. Now he's just crazy again for no good reason.
And as we all know, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
On purple acid.
But I like Matt. And a crazy Matt Hardy, a legitimately crazy Matt Hardy would probably be fun. But appearing, disappearing, teleporting, flying about, flittering about the airwaves, not so much. Speaking of flittering about the airwaves, the new hit show on Vice TV, Dark Side of the Ring, airs again this Tuesday, March 31st at 10 p.m. Eastern on Vice TV, and I think it's Crave up in Canada, or just find this fucking thing. And then if you can't get it where you are, if you're in fucking Kiev, Russia, or somewhere, I think they're going to be going on YouTube. But this week's episode is on New Jack, and I'm featured since I was possibly the most responsible person for turning him loose on the world. But everybody's, loving the dark side shows. But as a follow-up on the Benoit episode, we had Evan Husney and Jason Eisner on the experience, was it last week? As well as last 2 weeks. It was a 2-part interview.
Right.
And the first week, we talked about the Benoit episode. And one thing that I said specifically, so I loved the program as far as they had everybody that was close to the situation that was involved that's still around except one. And I thought that besides the fact that there was not enough explanation of the testosterone replacement therapy exemption in the WWE wellness program, which may have led them down a whole nother rabbit hole anyway, and a lot of people wouldn't have got it to begin with. But the glaring exception was Kevin Sullivan. And because he was not there to tell his story, he came off badly, undeservedly so, I thought, because a lot of us in wrestling know more of the backgrounds and more of the personalities and more of the stories than just these knuckleheads that think they know everything on the internet, such as the conspiracy theorists, who Ted Cruz killed JFK's father and Kevin Sullivan had something to do with this crime, et cetera, et cetera. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, I brought that up to Evan and Jason, and they started thinking about it. And they had asked Kevin to be a part of the program, and I won't reveal now why he wasn't, but I would say it was either miscommunication, I would label it, or lack of communication, and we're going to be getting into that as to why that Kevin did not appear on the program, because he wanted to make sure that it would not, he didn't know what the thing was going to be like, and he didn't know how big that this series was going to become, and he didn't want to upset Nancy's parents. But anyway, now that Evan and Jason are kind of feeling bad that his story was not in there, and as both you and I talked, we thought that he undeservedly came off badly because he wasn't there to talk, and just one line saying Kevin Sullivan declined to be interviewed for this show made it sound like he had something to hide or was trying to protect himself, when in actuality, it was a lot of cases, it was the other way around. He was trying to protect other people. So we've made arrangements that on the experience a week from this coming Friday, not this Friday, April 3rd, but Friday, April 10th, because we've got to have time to get recorded and et cetera. And we want everybody to know about this because we want that story to be told. Kevin Sullivan will appear on an open-ended interview for the first time ever on a mainstream platform to tell his side of the story, not his side, but his story, his and Nancy's story, the story of his relationship with her, and the story of how he's had to deal with everything since then. And I hope that everybody will listen. We're not trying to do this for a big ratings deal. It's not sweeps month, but we want that story to get out because that's the one that has not been told. Of all of this, that's the one that hasn't been told because of Kevin's desire basically not to hurt the family any more than they've already been hurt by all of this, and by the fact that he's been so inundated with these goofs and idiots that regardless of what you think of Kevin or regardless of what you think of anybody involved, the idea that he would have had something to do with this or be involved with the actual act is just ridiculous. And it's either the goofs on the internet that want to stir people up, or it's the deranged people who actually believe shit like this, because that's, Hillary Clinton ran a fucking pedophile ring out of a pizza parlor basement in New Jersey. Well, that's perfectly reasonable. And it's in that category to me. So anyway, the experience a week from this Friday, April 10th, will be Kevin Sullivan telling his story and his story with Nancy. And we hope that everybody will spread the word about it because it's something that needs to be heard. And next week, also on the drive-thru, besides the WrestleMania review, we're going to be talking to Stephen P. New because I did not know that suddenly the whole world went to using the term gig economy.
Yeah, we first heard that in the Evil Uno tweet, and then since that time, I've heard it nonstop.
Yes. Anyway, it's independent contractors, such as wrestlers, have never been eligible for unemployment benefits or unemployment insurance, whatever they call it. But now, with the stimulus and the efforts that the federal government, hopefully enough, I'm sure there'll be more coming, but the ones that they're making to try to re-stimulate the economy that we've shut down on purpose so that we all don't get sick and fucking die. And now even independent contractors, in effect, the gig workers, every time I hear a gig worker, I think of a guy standing there covered in blood. But maybe that's just, if you don't understand that word, get a copy of Jim Cornette Presents Behind the Curtain, because we have a glossary of wrestling terms. You'll understand more. But anyway, we're going to talk to Steven real quick next week on the program, because now some wrestlers that have lost work through all the shows being canceled and et cetera, may actually be eligible for some type of unemployment benefit that they would not necessarily have been eligible for before. So he's going to sort out some of the rules and regulations. It's not just that easy, and it's not a blanket thing, and don't just call up tomorrow. Wait till you hear what Steven has to say, because there's some complexities to this. But some guys, and some guys in wrestling, some of the current wrestlers deserve to be unemployed. They don't deserve to ever have been employed to begin with. But a lot of these guys that are taking their business seriously and trying to get out there and do the best they can through no fault of their own, got nothing to do for however long this lasts. And that's not fair, just like it's not normally fair that wrestlers are classified as independent contractors to begin with. Especially the ones that work for the WWE, we've covered that many times. It's just ridiculous. But for the true independent contractors or gig workers out there, next week on the drive-thru, we're going to talk to Steven, who's going to give us some legal advice on who might be eligible, what you would have to do to prove same, and et cetera. So you might want to be listening to that if you're in the wrestling business. Have we got all the programming notes taken? I think we have for the next couple weeks. We got all kinds of stuff going on. And did you hear about Curly Neal?
I did.
You did?
Fred Curly Neal, yes.
My favorite, except for Meadowlark, which of course was everybody's favorite Globetrotter, Curly Neal was my favorite Globetrotter. And I actually got a hug from him when I was 6 years old. And I met him, Meadowlark Lemon, and several of the other Globetrotters at the Burger Queen in Middletown, Kentucky, that is no longer there anymore. It's actually, the building is a Dairy Queen now, but it was Burger Queen. You didn't have Burger Queens up there in the Northeast.
We did not.
No, Burger Queen, the mascot was Queenie Bee. This woman fucking wearing this giant bumblebee outfit with the fucking antenna and everything, and Queenie Bee was just great. But they brought the Globetrotters before they played a game at the Gardens out to meet all the kiddies in the parking lot of the Burger Queen. And I got his autograph and got a hug from him. What a fucking dribbler. Holy shit, they put on a show. I've saw the Globetrotters a number of times live back in the late 60s, early 70s. And they had a couple of touring teams, but Meadowlark and Curly were usually on the same team. And when you got that was the A team. When you got Meadowlark and Curly, you were in for a fucking night of basketball. I'll tell you that. But anyway, sad to say, Curly Neal has passed away. Another icon of our childhoods. Well, not your childhood.
No.
You're not old enough.
I thought he was quite heroic, getting to Gilligan's Island.
Oh, that... Not to mention all those adventures that they had with Scooby-Doo.
That's right.
All right.
Crossover celebrity.
A crossover celebrity. The Globetrotters were big in this part of the country because they're basketball crazy around here. They even liked working basketball here in Kentucky. And I got to mention one more thing. We talked about Stephen P. New. Don't let me cut you off, but I'm going to anyway. We talked about Stephen P. New being on the show next week. I've got to mention that he wanted us to pass along one guy. I won't even go into details, but one guy, he told this guy, he said, I can't take your case. And the guy got hot and was promoting him on fucking Twitter, on the internet or whatever. And this no good son of a gun. Stephen cannot take every case that is presented to him due to the volume of cases, the nature of claims, cases that people call about from all over the country and all over the world. He's gotten calls from Australia, New Zealand, the UK. it's impossible for his law firm or any law firm to take that volume of cases, especially if it's not necessarily a winnable case or a case that he believes has legal merit. And we've mentioned that he tries his best to refer any of the Cult of Cornette members to attorneys closer to them who have good reputations that he knows of or that specialize in that kind of field. But he can't take every case, and he doesn't mean it as a personal slight. But he's gotten too big. He's bigger than Perry Mason now. It's not even a weight joke. Boy, have you noticed Raymond Burr really fleshed out in the last few seasons. But he does care about the Cult of Cornette members. He'll do everything he can to help you. But if it's a specious claim at best, or if it's something that's so far out of his realm of speciality or region of geography in the world, he can't promise he can take everything, but he will do his best at 888-692-8084 or at newlawoffice.com. And we've read the testimonials from so many of the cult members out there and the listeners that have contacted him and actually gotten helped, me being one of them on a couple of different cases, including him being a tremendous help, when Stacy's father passed away, and then also with the various, interloping outlaw mud show basement dwellers that try to infringe on my rights and etc. But if you have a case that you believe that needs legal attention, give him a crack at it. If he can't help you, he may know somebody that can. He'll do everything he can to get you taken care of, but don't go after him with pitchforks and lighted torches if he can't take every case. He's already taken on a partner, and he's trying to flesh out his law firm even more because it's blowing up like it is. But for heaven's sake, don't blame Steven if he can't do it. He can't be everywhere at once, unlike Matt Hardy.
That's what we need. Hologram Stephen P. New.
Hey, that would be, if you holler for his hologram, if maybe say his name 3 times fast and a hologram will appear in your room. Stephen P. New, Stephen P. New, Stephen P. New, and boom, up he pops, and he gives you legal advice while he's glowing radioactively. Just a thought. All right. Do you have anything for me today, or have I got all this stuff? I got a couple of emails. Would you like to hear them?
We could do whatever you want. We have questions. We have emails, apparently.
Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it? Here it goes. I've got another email from Jake, our private investigator down in Starkville, Mississippi. Now, the folks may remember, we've been reading a lot of this on the drive-thru. Some of it may have been on the experience, but of course, you've got some kind of under-the-table deal going on with Charlie from Starkville, Mississippi, where he gets all the question time on the program here.
He didn't have a single question on last week's show.
Well, that's only because you've been shamed and suitably chastened about favoring him, and I think there's obviously a deal going on. And we got an email from Jake here a few weeks ago that he is training to be a private investigator, and what he was going around Starkville, Mississippi, trying to find Charlie, because that's where he lives too, Jake. And he wore a Cornette face shirt. He asked everybody he knew named Charlie if they knew me. He's been trying to find Charlie, right? And he hadn't yet, but we got an update. Jake says, "Hi, Jim. Hope all is well. Just wanted to give you an update. As you can imagine, since the world has been turned upside down, it has also put a damper on my search for Charlie. Despite his generous offer to join him for lunch," because remember, he did say that Charlie's favorite restaurant, the guy that ran it, was a fucking asshole. But anyway, despite his generous offer to join him for lunch, all restaurants in Starkville have shut down their dine-in services, so it doesn't look like he and I will be breaking bread anytime soon. And besides, that's no way to milk an angle. I'm trying to earn a degree. If my quarry were to suddenly announce that they'll meet me for lunch, that would be akin to putting Goldberg against Hogan on Nitro with no build-up. In all seriousness, I hope Charlie and all the Cult of Cornette members are staying safe and exercising caution during this difficult time. In the spirit of isolation, I do have an inquiry. We've often heard you speak about your favorite comic books and superheroes, but I've never heard you talk about movies that much. You seem to be a fan of classic horror and sci-fi. I enjoy the Universal monster movies of the 30s and 40s, the insane monster and alien invasion movies of the 50s, and the best Vincent Price horrors of the 60s. So, Jim, what would be some of your recommendations for classic movies to pass the time during this quarantine? Also, to Brian Last, yes, I really am from Starkville, and even I don't know where it is. Just up the road from parts unknown Mississippi would be my best guess. And Jake is indeed my real name. If I were to pick an alias, I wouldn't choose to share one with a noted piss drinker.
Very good. Very good.
So we need to talk about that for a second. He listed a ton of great movies, the classic Universal horrors, the wave of 50s sci-fi and alien invasion, and then the cool Hammer films and Vincent Price stuff of the 60s. Those are classic horror films. But my favorite monster was always Frankenstein. And I started watching horror movies before I even found wrestling. So I don't know if I thought that Frankenstein would be a good wrestler or if the wrestlers would make a good Frankenstein. I'm not sure, but it's something, just the big, I always like the Hulk and the Thing, in Marvel Comics. I like the big guys that like to fucking smash shit up. But I like Dracula too. He's spooky in his own way. The Mummy was cool, although he didn't get a lot of on-screen time as the Mummy in the original, picture at least. But besides, I never could get into the Invisible Man. I wasn't really scared of him. He was still just a guy, so he could pop in on you without you knowing it and fucking watch you, naked taking a shit or whatever. That may have been his superpower, but what could he really do to you besides sneak up on you?
The best thing with the Invisible Man was his cameo at the end of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Which was the voice of Vincent Price.
Which is such a cool movie because you have Bela Lugosi. You have, the actual guys in there. Fantastic movie.
The best Abbott and Costello movie, along with maybe Buck Privates, their first starring flick. Do you know what the first appearance of Abbott and Costello in the movies was?
I don't.
1940s One Night in the Tropics, and they got second billing, but they stole the movie, and Buck Privates was rushed into production and came out right before the United States entered World War II. So, and boom, and from then on, the next 15 years, they were a license to print money. But yeah, and plus, the old spooky, the lesser known horror films of the early 30s, like the Freaks and the Old Dark. Well, I don't say lesser known. Everybody knows Freaks now, but the Old Dark House and White Zombie and some of those, the cheaper ones that Universal passed on, but they still have some oomph to them. And also my favorite 50s sci-fi movie, at least, The Day the Earth Stood Still, tied with The Thing from Another World. Who was the Thing from Another World in the original 1951 version?
Matt Hardy.
No. He can't teleport himself through time, just space.
You don't know that.
James Arness played the creature. Huh. Yes, that was James Arness in because nobody knew who he was at that time. But he was big enough that he, fit the fucking suit, right? And he was the carrot monster from another planet in The Thing from Another World. And then just a scant, 4 years later, they wanted John Wayne to star in Gunsmoke, and he said, no fucking way, I ain't doing television, but there's this guy I know named James Arness, he'd be perfect for it.
And then fast forward to 1984, you call Bill Watts Marshall Dillon on Mid-South Wrestling.
I think the only insult I hit Watts with, he loved it when I said I'm going to have your geeky-looking son Joel swabbing out toilets and selling Midnight Express T-shirts. But the only insult I ever hit him with was I said Bill Watts is a guy, he likes to think of himself as walking tall. Well, he's so tall, the top of his head's coming through his hair. I don't think he had the male pattern baldness. I don't think he liked that line. But that's why the slap was laid in extra good. My ears rang for 30 minutes off that fucking slap. Anyway. But you got anything for a show here? For heaven's sake, I'm doing all the work here. I got another email. Would you like to hear it?
No.
Like to hear it? Here it goes. Hey, what do you mean no?
Real quick on monster movies. It was on my mind recently. I don't know if you ever would have seen it, but to people my age, it's a classic. Did you ever see Monster Squad?
Monster Squad.
Came out in 1987 or 88.
Oh, I didn't see any movies for 10 years during that period of time.
You should check that out. I mean, I think you may actually like it. It's a really cool movie. It's about a bunch of kids obsessed with monsters, and it just so happens these monsters return to Earth. All the classic Universal monsters but because it wasn't a Universal film, they had to change some of the names. So it's, Gillman is there and, various things. But
if that is indeed your real name, you monster.
Yeah, but it's the Mummy, the Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, the creature from the Black Lagoon. They're all there. And these kids have to find a way to get them out of society, out of the universe. Really cool movie, including a big baby face turn for your favorite, Frankenstein.
Well, he was always a baby face to me. He was misunderstood. He just wanted to go in the hermit's house and have a cigar with him and be a friend.
The classic line from this movie that people probably quote the most is, instead of using the word balls, they call them nards in the movie. So at one point, the Wolfman is like cornered this kid, and the other kid's behind him is like, kick him in the nards, kick him in the nards. And he goes, the Wolfman doesn't have nards. He goes, do it. And he kicks him. He goes, Wolfman has nards. Because Wolfman bends over in pain.
Well, it's not Wolf Woman. Why wouldn't you think that Wolfman has nards? Because even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the moon is full and bright and his balls are hanging right down between his legs.
You need to watch Monster Squad.
Remind me of that the next time we do a Manscaped spot.
Monster Squad or nards?
No, the Wolfman's balls.
Okay.
Because that would... You've got Wolfman balls, ladies and gentlemen. I got news for you. Manscaped ain't even paying me, but I'm bringing them up there because that Lawnmower 3.0 will... I've met the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Was it Matt Hardy?
No, God damn it. What is your fixation on me?
No, I don't know. Who was it?
He can't be everywhere in history. Rico Browning.
Huh.
He is the only classic Universal monster still alive, and he's got to be in his 90s now, because I think I met him 10, 12 years ago. He was 80, easily. He did the swim. He was a champion swimmer, and they recruited him to do the underwater swimming scenes in that outfit because they needed a champion swimmer, and they couldn't have bubbles, and they couldn't have an air apparatus, so he had to be underwater like 3 minutes, 4 minutes at a time. So
he was pretty graceful.
Yeah, well,
for a monster. Yeah.
Once he did those movies, he did the Creature Walks Among Us, Return of the Creature, whatever, and then he ended up with a career doing underwater scenes for various movies in Hollywood. And he was at a sci-fi convention we were at. But see, that's the thing. All the comic conventions now, if they'd had shit like that when I was a kid, because I don't care about meeting the goddamn cast of the fucking Breakfast Club. Who gives a shit, right? If I could have met Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi was dead long before I was even born, but Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney Jr. and stars like that would have been a big deal. I would have paid money for that. I don't give a fuck about the guy that's been in a movie, 15 years ago.
We never got The Creature Meets Esther Williams. That would have been a great movie.
Oh, everybody now is Googling Esther Williams.
No one is.
I bet Fernando Lamas is probably still Googling her. See, I can go with, nobody has a fucking clue what we're talking about, but I can fucking hang with you on these esoteric people. Anyway, I got another email. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Good. You gave the right answer this time. Apparently, Shitstain is back in the wrestling business. I got an email from Jeff from Ogden, Utah, who says Shitstain is now producing a show here in Utah. I hate to give it publicity, but the name of it, I've got to read this name. Devotion Championship Wrestling. He's still trying to milk the goddamn. That's much like ice cream and battery acid go together, so do religion and pro wrestling. And 15 years later, he's still trying to match religion with wrestling. The first show of Devotion Championship Wrestling started with an intergender Samoan death match where they hit each other with tiki torches and rubber alligators, and they had a 12-year-old referee. Please shout out to the world that this sucks. It's shouted, Jeff from Ogden, Utah, and boy...
That's not the way I expected that show to start.
That's the way I'd expect it to end up. It may have started and ended at the same time. Shit stains like my uncle, the proctologist. He started at the bottom and stayed there.
You know, it's funny. For the first time in a while, we got a couple emails about him. So this kind of opens that door. Let me ask you one here.
Oh, I didn't mean to open a fucking door. I just meant to make fun of the tiki torches. But go ahead.
This was sent in by Bedar in Dubai. Hello, Mr. Jim. Over the last few years or so, I've seen a lot of your YouTube videos and have become a fan. Your rants are highly entertaining, and you cutting promos on these indie wrestlers and promotion is gold. And promotions, I guess. However, I am a fan of Vince Russo as well.
Oh, boy.
It blows my mind.
So you're the one, then.
In Dubai. It blows my mind on the number of similarities and opinions you guys share and still don't seem to get along.
What?
A fan suggested him...
Wait a minute. You've known me for a long time. We've exchanged many stories. I've always talked about this guy as being... It's almost a rib that anything that comes out of his mouth is something that I vehemently disagree with, and we couldn't be more different if it was a rib and it's on purpose. And he's finding similarities.
I can't speak to the similarities. I haven't been paying attention, but a fan suggested him, or asked him, I guess, about a Russo Cornette podcast, which he said he'd love to do, and that it would be money. As a fan of both people, I'd like you guys to maybe make peace someday. What are your thoughts on possibly doing a podcast with Vince Russo?
Well, I'm sure he'd like to do it because that way somebody would actually hear him, but I'd have to hear him. And yes, it would be money, and they haven't printed that much money yet. As I've mentioned to everyone over the last 10 or 15 years that has offered me, in some respect, the opportunity to work with him, alongside him, do a shoot interview. Remember, Rob Feinstein said, I'll pay you guys more. This was 7-8 years ago. I'll pay you guys more than I've ever paid anybody for a shoot interview. Just to have you two in a room, we'll get a uniformed police officer to sit in between you and just say whatever you want to say. I said, I tell you what, I said, I'll save you some money. I said, I'll do it for free if you won't have the cop there. It'll be short, but interesting. And he didn't want to do that. Whether it be Sean Oliver at Kayfabe Commentaries, whether it be Rob Feinstein, I can't remember. At last total, I think it was about $40,000 in accumulative work that every time somebody would ask me, I would let them say, okay, what are you going to pay me? What are you going to pay us? Okay, good. Now call Dick Lick and tell him how much money I just cost him by turning this down. Because I would not in any way, shape, or form enable him to make one more single penny off of the wrestling industry or any of the wrestling fans if it cost me $1,000 to prevent it. So what do you think the answer to the question is?
I know what the answer is.
Well, there you go.
One last thing on the topic of this gentleman, and I use that term loosely.
Who? The guy from Dubai?
No, the man you refer to as Shit Stain.
The gentleman.
I haven't seen this, but I've been told, I have an email here somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it. I've been looking the last minute, that apparently in advance of the Vice Dark Side of the Ring episode covering the Brawl for All, he is saying that it wasn't really him, that it was Vince McMahon who wanted to do this.
So he takes the credit for everything else ever done, including the invention of air and water and shit, but he don't want none of that. So Vince McMahon just thought of one day, well, hell, let's just let the guys fight for a shoot. Yeah. When you take credit for everything, you also have to be ready to take blame for everything, and especially like my Aunt Lola used to say, everything you do gets blamed right on you. Well, congratulations, Shit Stain, and that will be another topic of the Dark Side of the Ring this season, and we'll get to see exactly how stupid and ignorant and irresponsible Vince Russo's creativity, I can't say that word related to him without throwing up in my mouth. His creativity was in that time and what everybody thought of it.
All right. Did you have another email?
No.
The other email? That was it?
That was the other email. Yeah, I got nothing.
Well, let's get
This is your show anyway.
Well, it's about time. Let's get some questions here on the show. Let me move Bedar from Dubai's email away from here. This next question.
Bye-bye to Dubai.
This has been a popular topic. I don't know how much you followed it here. But this was sent in to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Adam in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Dear Mr. Cornette, I'd just love to hear your overall take on Teddy Hart and the news he allegedly assaulted another woman this past weekend. This time, his girlfriend, ROH's Maria
Wait a minute. Another woman? Was he alleged to have assaulted someone, another woman besides this woman?
I don't know the details because I've never closely followed the exploits of Teddy Hart. But apparently there are stories/incidents in the past. I'll see what we can find while we're talking about this.
All right. I worked with Teddy last year at MLW for a while, and I even mentioned on the show, hey, he's on good behavior. He's obviously showing up. He occasionally goes, a little overboard in his matches with some of the stuff that he does, but he was selling, and he was, I saw him do jobs. I didn't see any arguments. He was, I thought everything was good, and maybe, he had stabilized himself, and I had no issue with him. And then all of a sudden, I guess the last taping I did was in July, and they were doing the Opera Cup that Stu Hart originally had that was left that Teddy ended up with, possibly along with the rest of the silverware in the Hart house. Who knows at this point with Teddy? And they started the tournament, and all of a sudden, I don't know what the situation was, but Teddy was repeatedly asking to get out of his contract. MLW let him out of his contract. He hasn't wrestled there in the past, I guess, what has it been, 3, 4, 5 months? And all of a sudden, he got arrested the first time here a few months ago. After wrestling in, was it Baltimore or Washington? The Baltimore or Washington area.
Well, he was just arrested in Virginia. I think he's been arrested a few times there.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The first time that he got arrested in Richmond, Virginia, he had just wrestled in either, I believe it was Baltimore or the Washington, D.C. area, and he told some people he was going to go get weed, and he got arrested in Richmond. Richmond is 120 miles from fucking Washington. I got a feeling you could probably find some shit a little closer. So I don't know, and I didn't know that he had a connection to Richmond. Maybe that now we know that his girlfriend lives there. But anyway, that's how he ended up in Richmond, and then it's been downhill ever since. And I just read the latest one. I don't know what to say. I don't want to bury the guy anymore, and he's already buried because make him miserable, because I have nothing against him personally, but somebody needs to do something to intervene in. Generally, when this keeps happening at this pace, a person's life does not go well from that point forward. Is it I think back to Sonny, who had several arrests in a row, and maybe the best thing that's happened is she hadn't been arrested lately because she'd been in jail for a year and just got out. But maybe that has cured some of the habits that led to the arrest. Maybe the same thing might happen to Teddy. Is that the best thing for him? I don't know. But I feel bad, for whatever's going on.
Well, we have some audio here. This is apparently wrestler Ace Montana. Do you know Ace Montana?
I have never heard of I haven't even heard of Ace Colorado, much less Ace Montana. Or now, did he used to wrestle as Ace South Dakota?
I don't think so. And no relation to Ace Darling either. But there's a video here. Let me read you the text from the video first. It says, "I literally had to pull my gun on Teddy Hart and throw him out of my friend's house. This piece of shit literally," he's using literally like his Gorilla Monsoon, "literally choked out and physically assaulted Maria Manic and would not let her get help. She texted me, 'I'm in danger.' Never ever did I think I would meet a piece of shit like this guy who has now been arrested with a felony against him. I don't think this guy knew how close to death he was. Fuck you, Teddy Hart. This video is me kicking him out before the cops came and arrested him.
Well, there's video of, now wait a minute, this sounds like an angle. There's actually video of him kicking Teddy Hart out of this girl's house?
Well, I don't know whose house it is. The video starts. I haven't pressed play yet. It appears someone is in a room with, it looks like pictures of girls on the wall, like cut out of magazines and taped on the wall.
Hey, they were at my house? What the fuck?
Would you like me to press play?
Can we do that? Is there some legal reason why we shouldn't? Or do we need to call Steven? Or should we just let this fly and see what happens and just throw caution to the wind?
Well, this is from Twitter. It was posted by Ace Montana, and he's the one in question here who's saying he did this.
Well, I'm saying that he's given us permission then, if he's put it out there.
I think he put it out there, and we can play it. I'm going to press play.
Play that funky video, white boy.
I'm going to go out there, lock the door behind me.
All my stuff is missing from up here.
You hear me? Lock this behind me, okay?
Are you leaving or are you talking about?
I'm going to let them know the cops are on the way just to scare them.
Okay.
Let me just stop this real quick. While this guy is saying this to a woman in the room, I don't know if that's Maria Manick or someone else, you could see through the window shades, Teddy Hart is outside. I don't know if he's putting a coat on or what he's doing, but let me now pick up the video where we last left off.
Okay.
The gun case that you took off my truck, I'd put it back if I was you. I'd put it back if I was you. Put the gun case on my fucking truck, Teddy Hart. Fuck you, Teddy. Hey, the cops are on the way. We're good. And here's the thing. You physically assaulted her? Yes, you did. And choking her out? Put my fucking case back on it. Put that motherfucker. Put it back on the fucking truck, Teddy Hart. Fuck you. I'm tougher than you think. I'll beat your fucking ass. Grab your shit off my fucking truck and start stepping. Put it the fuck back. Grab your fucking shit and get the fuck up the road.
Sounds like it was shot at the castle here.
Fuck off, dude. I don't care. Fuck off. Get your shit and get the fuck up the road. Teddy Hart, get your fucking ass up the road. The cops are on the way for what you did to her. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. She's got the marks to prove it. Get your fucking juice box and get the fuck up the road.
Juice box?
I don't want to hear your voice anymore. Get the fuck up the road. Yeah, you did. She's got the marks. So when the cops are going to do it, she's pressing charges. I've already got her doing it. So you're going back to jail, Teddy. Okay? Thank you. Have a good day. 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 Okay, sure. She's got the marks to prove it. Yeah, thank you. Have a good day. Have a good one. Teddy, fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a good day. When the cops get here, I'm going to help her out. No, I'm good. I can't even hear you right now. I can't even hear you right now. Keep going. Quit wrestling. Have a good one. Have a good one. Nope. Nope. Go.
That's the match. John agreed to it. You absolutely know that. So me and Lanny Poffo then?
How's Lanny Poffo in this? Are they shooting an angle for a tag match with Lanny?
Like the tour, bro. I'm a nice guy. It's like, if that's your daughter, I treat her really good. You know that, man. I never did anything bad to her. No tattoos, no crack, no hard drugs, just marijuana, man. I'm your fucking best friend.
At this point, Teddy has turned around and he's walking towards the 301 Express convenience store. And it appears that's the end of this video.
And apparently people traveling by are not practicing social distancing. Have you ever noticed wrestlers have to use people's full name when they're cutting a promo? Let me tell you something, Teddy Hart.
Get your juice box, Teddy Hart.
Get your juice box and get the fuck to stepping. What the... Oh my God. Outlaw wrestling at its finest. I know who Teddy is, obviously. I don't know who this Ace Montana, who any of these people are, but goddamn outlaw fucking wrestling. Gotta love it. Can you imagine if there had been cell phones and video phones back in the... There was one time, Jackie Crockett told me a story in Charlotte. Oh, goddamn, it was the Bennigans. The Bennigans that the guys used to go to after the matches when they were close, because they were open till 2 a.m, and it was a bar. That's where Flair would go in and order a tray of kamikazes to start. And that's where Arn Anderson got juice in the parking lot. Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Arn comes out of the fucking Bennigans late one night, and he's had a few adult beverages, sociable cocktails, and he's walking to his car. And I know, insert, yes, drinking and driving. Yeah, it happened back then. But he's walking to his car, and this woman who's had a few, she backs out of the parking spot while he's walking behind her car, and she hits him. Boom! He takes a bump in the parking lot, and then he goes into his trunk and gets in his wrestling bag and gets his blade and gets some fucking color. In case the cops come and there's any trouble, he can say that she ran over him and he was blood. But anyway, the Bennigans was if it's situated here, and there was kind of like a forest area. And then there was an apartment complex on the other side of the trees and the foliage and everything. Well, Wahoo McDaniel was noted for going out with the boys on occasion. And this particular time, as Jackie Crockett tells the story, his wife, Karen, Wahoo's wife, Karen, who's a lovely lady, but also was very feisty, didn't want him to go out. So somewhere or another, he snuck out without driving the car, and he walked through the woods to go to the Bennigans, and she found out that he had left, and she was chasing him, and she was firing a shot from a fucking pistol over his head like, God damn you, Wahoo, bam, bam, bam. A lot of shit happened at Bennigans back then. We should have had that. See, this was a pussy confrontation. There was no fucking getting juice in the parking lot. Nobody got hit by a car. There was no fucking mad wife firing a fucking 45 over a straying husband's head. Just a bunch of goofs with juice boxes getting to stepping. We needed camera phones back in those days when the men were real men, and so were the women.
How many guys had feisty wives back in the day?
How many guys had wives?
Were they all that way?
Well, not that way. I think she had a bit of Indian blood in her too. There were many feisty wives. There were a few non-feisty wives, but many of the wives were of the feisty category.
Did any of the wives ever fight with one another?
Argumentatively, yes. I don't offhand. I mean, there's plenty of rat fights that got physical, but I don't remember any wife fights that got. Well, Corey, we've talked about the Tracy Smothers and Ricky Morton situation in Johnson City that time in '95, but I don't remember any established wives getting in a Donnybrook or a Pier Sixer, as they say, but plenty. Oh my gosh, especially in Mid-South, the rats were very territorial. And if a rat from another city came to their city and was trying to horn in on whoever that they were with in that particular city, there was shit that would go on. I witnessed a couple of those myself when Jackson, Mississippi came to Baton Rouge. It was holy shit. It was Katie bar the door, because Baton Rouge knew that when such and such a guy was in Jackson, Mississippi, he was fucking around with somebody else. But Jackson, Mississippi better not come to fucking Baton Rouge and try to do it in front of her, or there was going to be a goddamn fight. That shit happened all the time.
All right. Well, our next question, Jim. A lot of people have sent this in, so I'm going to combine a few of them and just ask you my own version of it. What do you think about Roman Reigns being pulled from WrestleMania due to health concerns with the coronavirus, and him being someone who I guess has leukemia in remission, and also the fact that the WWE are still billing him as being on the show, despite the fact that mainstream news or mainstream wrestling news is reporting that he's off the show?
Well, I didn't know they were still billing him to be on the show, because I've seen on the internet that he's not on the show, that they're not admitting that.
I did watch a little bit of SmackDown this week, and they were still pretending like it's Roman Reigns versus Goldberg.
I don't blame Roman Reigns. Look, he's had cancer. The treatments fuck with your immune system. And so, no, he shouldn't be out in public around anybody. I don't think he's going to get it from Goldberg. You know, with them doing a closed set, if the only person he had to get in the ring with was Goldberg and a fucking referee, you know, if Vince sent his private plane, which he's more than capable of doing, to the guy's doorstep to pick him up, that might be one thing. I don't know if that offer was made, but still, I wouldn't go out in public to get to the airport or you know, be around all the people that you would have to get from point A to point B if I'd had cancer. They say especially the elderly over 60 is a risk group. Well, I'm fucking 1 year and 5 months away from that. So I'm figuring that's close enough for rock and roll, and I'm staying away from people. And I don't have a compromised immune system. So, well, we've talked about they shouldn't be having the fucking thing to begin with until they can have it in a stadium in front of people properly. I even pitched the idea of why can't SummerSlam be WrestleMania this year? But Vince is just stubborn. I don't know what this thing's going to look like, but it's turning into an epic clusterfuck of all clusterfucks to begin with all sorts of people dropping out or being changed, and there's no fans, and it's 2 nights, and it's going to look hokey. You just know it is. So no, I don't blame him at all, but they should be. That's the one person. I mean, they said, oh, the Miz ain't going to show up. Well, nobody cares whether the Miz gets sick or not, right? Who gives a shit? It's the fucking Miz. But Roman Reigns, who has so much sympathy from having had leukemia and beaten it apparently twice, that if they came out and said they could make it part of the fucking issue. He gets his big match that he's been wanting, or a long-awaited match or whatever. Oh, my gosh, because of the worldwide situation and his immune system, he's unable to make the match. That would extend the goddamn thing for 6 months right there. Can you imagine the package they could show and tell when they finally do have the match? That the only reason that Roman Reigns never got it until now was because he was medically forced to stay in quarantine because of his immune system. That it was against it. Like every babyface, you give them an obstacle and then let them overcome it. Or through no fault of their own, they couldn't show up and fight like they wanted to or whatever. So he's the one that's got to pass if anybody does. And that just goes to show you why you shouldn't have the fucking show. Who's going to work in his place? Who's going to work with Goldberg?
Braun Strowman.
Oh, Jesus.
The strong man.
Well, good. Since he's so fucking worried about going out and working hard for his living and everybody else is just begging for handouts, then let him go and almost get or possibly get a fucking horrible disease to go work with Goldberg. Not that he'd get it from Goldberg. Not that there's anything wrong with that or whatever the fuck. But yeah, let old Braun Fat Man. Somebody said on Twitter, well, you wouldn't call him that to his face. Yeah, I would. Because he's had a big spot up there for the past few years. He's probably made a lot of money, and if he fucking hit me, I'd fucking sue his ass, because fuck him.
All right, well.
That's a deep subject right there.
Well, for YouTube, I don't want to end on the word fuck it.
Well, okay, well then I'll say, well, gosh darn it.
There we go.
There you go.
Somewhat better. Several questions have come in, Jim, about the Brodie Lee interview on Talk is Jericho. That's the Chris Jericho podcast. Have you followed any of this news?
I have not. See, you need to prep me beforehand, and people are going to be asking. I've been so busy trying to fulfill the cult's wishes that I haven't had a chance to keep up with some of these things.
Well, here's one of them right here. This one is from Charlie in Starkville, Mississippi.
Oh, God damn it.
Sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com.
You were right, Jake.
Please, I think
Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake?
What are you wearing? We both went to that.
If there is a Jake from
I remember we'd go to Atlanta TV on Saturday mornings, right at the Techwood Drive Studios, and that's when the employees were not. Saturday was a skeleton crew for their regular business staff, and so they had the guys dressing in like a combination of locker room and storage area type of thing in the back, but some of the guys would branch out into the cubicles where the Monday through Friday, the, normal office people were working, and you could use the fucking phones and dial out long distance. And I swear to God, if I couldn't find Robert Gibson, I knew exactly where he was. He was in a fucking cubicle having phone sex with one of his fucking friends and acquaintances from around the country on TBS's dime. Go ahead.
Well, this question from Charlie in Starkville, Mississippi. In a recent interview, Brodie Lee said Vince McMahon pitched repackaging him and Eric Rowan as a new version of Demolition. Vince has done this before with the new Blackjacks and, of course, the new Midnight Express. What are your thoughts on Vince trying to recreate tag teams from the past with new talent? And actually, on that topic, I'll ask you about some of this other stuff, because another listener, this one being, I'm trying to get a name here, this is another email, Chris Sigia, sent a breakdown of the Brodie Lee interview. And apparently Brodie Lee said Vince showed Lee and Eric Rowan a picture of Demolition and said, try to look and wrestle like these guys. And the people in charge of costumes made up some gear for them, and they were going to carry mallets, but they couldn't call the mallets sledgehammers because Triple H had a sledgehammer.
Oh, good God.
But he wanted them, like literally they were shown a picture of Demolition and said to look like them.
Well, with mallets, what were they supposed to call the mallet? Mallets? I'll hit you with my mallet. I don't know what Vince. I don't know where the new Demolition came from with Brodie Lee. Although the gear hopefully he saved it, because it couldn't look any worse than the gear he was wearing the other night with all the fucking fake zippers and everything on the bell bottoms or whatever the fuck that was. But he loves to, the hillbillies. Think every decade he's had hillbillies, because he grew up watching the Scufflin' Hillbillies, Chuck and Rip from Ashland, Kentucky, and it was a big deal in Madison Square Garden in the 50s because people in New York had never seen real hillbillies. And then the Beverly Hillbillies became the '1 television show in the fucking country, and the Scufflin' Hillbillies, had a pretty good run. But then in the fucking in the 80s, he had Hillbilly Jim and Uncle Elmer and Cousin Junior and Cousin Luke. In the 90s, it was the Godwins. In the 2000s, didn't they they made poor old Luke Gallows a fucking brain-damaged hillbilly of some description, didn't they? Festus or something like that?
With Terry Gordy's son.
Yeah. Vince loves phony hillbillies. I mean, a real hillbilly could actually get over, but phony hillbillies, I don't know what his thing is, but he always wants flavors of teams. Now, I know the new Midnight Express could have been Vince McMahon's idea, or it could have been Shitstain trying to fuck with me, because I was at home when I got the call, and I know that it was from Vince McMahon, but I know that Shitstain was somewhere around. And I think the way that probably came up was every time that me and Bruce and JR and Vince would ride together somewhere through 96, part of 97, before we all got out of risking our lives riding with Vince, every time we went to a convenience store, hotel, desk clerk, whatever, they would point at me and say, Jim Cornette, Midnight Express. This was while I was managing the WWF champion Yokozuna, but they were still talking about the Midnight Express. And every time somebody would, especially when we went down south or in the Midwest or down in Texas, whatever, and Vince would always look with that look that he gets on his face like, what the fuck? Why don't they know you for managing Yoko, pal? Because the midnight was more over and more people were watching us. So I don't know whether he said something and Shitstain found the opportunity to try to do another thing to make me look bad, or whether they were trying to find something to do with Bob Holly and Bart Gunn, and some way or another my name came up as a manager, and then Russo, could have fared, well, let's make them the new Midnight Express. Anything to make anybody from the NWA or anybody from the 80s Crockett, group or whatever look goofy or bad. But that's how that came up. The new Rockers, because they had Marty. Sean was already taken in another fucking angle, but they had Marty, so they put poor Al Snow in as Leaf Cassidy. They said, the Rockers, the whole Leaf Cassidy thing was Leaf Garrett and Sean Cassidy. The whole idea was they come up with teeny bopper rocker names, right? And so I can believe he wanted to do Demolition again, because the reason he did Demolition was because he couldn't get the Road Warriors. And that's why when he actually finally got the Road Warriors, the edge was taken off of him, because they'd seen the duplicate team in the WWF before they ever saw the original. So the Road Warriors never were dominant there because they'd already pushed Demolition to the moon. I don't know what he fucking thinks, but I'm looking at Brodie Lee now going, God, he needs something. Put a guy that looks like a fucking caveman in a suit and have him eating at Morton's Steakhouse and impersonating Vince McMahon and then wearing bell bottoms with fake zippers. I don't, and he's the leader of the biggest fucking crew of jobbers since Mike Jackson used to bring a carload over to Atlanta on Saturday mornings for $40 a piece. I don't fucking know.
Well, another part of this was, I'll read you, just get your take. During the interview, again, these are from the notes that were sent in by Chris Sigia. Apparently he was pitching ideas for months and they kept turning everything down. He would talk to Vince and Vince would say he doesn't have anything for him. Then Brodie Lee started doubting himself, even though he knew he was good. Then, of course, here's the Demolition story. Before asking for his release, he again asked Vince why they don't have anything for him. Vince then yelled at the writers on why wasn't Lee in the upcoming Andre the Giant Battle Royal. They penciled him in and told him it would come down to him and 2 others. The day of the Battle Royal, they told Lee there would be 10 guys left in the ring when he got eliminated. Vince then told him they want him to be Sami Zayn's heater. Lee says he doesn't want to be somebody who walks behind somebody else again, but he will try to make it work. 2 days later, that got canceled, and he asked Mark Carrano for his release. Vince talked to Lee twice afterwards, and he said Vince was nice to him. Vince asked him if he wanted more money or a push, and Lee said no, at this point he just wanted his release. Lee went online and said he asked for his release so the WWE couldn't control his narrative, as Shawn Spears did earlier. On Vince's second call to him, he told Lee that for business reasons, we can't let you go, and they added 6 months to his contract on a wrist surgery he had. They were going to have him sit at home. Triple H called him and asked what he wanted, and Lee said he wanted to wrestle. Triple H asked if he wanted to go to NXT or New Japan, and Lee said okay, and then that never happened.
That used to be the kiss of death in the 90s. Well, go to Japan and get some experience, and that way you'll be in another country and we won't have to fucking look at you.
Well, what's interesting about it is Triple H saying that he can get him into New Japan, which raises some questions. What was the relationship at that point with WWE, Triple H, and New Japan that Triple H felt confident, or at least said he did, that he can get him in there?
Well, also he was saying that also, regardless what, they obviously didn't want the guy, but they didn't want anybody else to have him that was going to be in competition to them.
I understand that philosophy with guys who you're pushing in a top position.
Well, yeah.
But what about, Shawn Spears obviously left. Matt Hardy wasn't really.
Where is Shawn Spears? In the Federal Witness Protection Program now, by the way?
Yeah, with Tully Blanchard. Matt Hardy left. Matt Hardy wasn't really pushed as a top guy there. Brodie Lee, not a top guy there. Even Cody, obviously, not a top guy there. Do you think it's interesting that they're so concerned about guys that are mid-card as opposed to, they locked up Randy Orton for another 5 years? It's not really the top guys that are jumping. Moxley, you could say, was a top guy. Jericho, a top guy. But no one else.
Well, Jericho didn't even really jump. He was kind of doing his own thing to begin with. I think now they just, not only do they not want the other side to have any arsenal of weapons at all, but also it'll make them look really stupid if the other side comes up with a way to get these guys over and that they couldn't. Of course, so far, that's not looking like the case. I'm not even burying Brodie Lee. He seems well-spoken. He looks big and fucking impressive. And even though he whiffed the boot or whatever the fuck, but you could get a guy like that over, but who is he? And how do you get him over? That's the question. He has the tools. The blueprint is there for somebody that you could get over as a, wild ass kicking fucking guy or whatever. But first, the guy himself needs to know how to get himself over. If he doesn't know that, and if you can't, some guys, you look and think, boy, they ought to be stars, but you can't think of the way. You can't think of the gimmick. You can't think of the way he should be presented. You can't think of the way he should look. It's like it's there somewhere, but we can't figure it out. And if Brodie Lee thinks that he's going to get over by being the leader of this clown show and or wearing that outfit that we saw him wearing and or not just big booting and standing on everybody in his way for like 16 weeks to smash him over on television and rehab his image, I haven't seen him, but before it was him and the other guy, Harper, right? Or Rowan. Which one was he?
Brodie Lee was Luke Harper.
Okay, Brodie Lee was Harper. Rowan is the redheaded bald guy that it looks like he's wearing a fucking mechanic's fucking jumpsuit. And remember, I said, what the fuck is this guy? Who is he? What is he? What's his background? Why do I give a fuck? They just made him, even though they pushed him, they're just two big fucking guys. There was no backstory or personality or gimmick or character, as they say, that you feel like is really that fucking guy that he could. I can't articulate it exactly, but there once in a while with some of these guys, there's just, you can't figure out exactly how they should be presented. And apparently Brodie Lee cannot figure that out for himself, or he should have had this all planned out. He finally gets to go to another national TV promotion. He gets free from the place that wouldn't let him work. These guys are willing to let him work, but he lets himself get stuck in this fucking abortion of an angle with his goofy group. And instead of being a wild, crazy, ass-kicking, fucking mean-ass, psychotic motherfucker like he would look like, he's wearing a suit and cutting his steak and mad at people who sneeze. It does not compute. What you see has to make sense with what you hear and what the person does. And I sense a disconnect in exactly, who the fuck this guy is and how the fuck they're going to get him over. He should be by himself or with a manager. He should smash people, run up a fucking streak of wins to give him some credibility. But how do you present him? How does he speak? I'm not sure. But just the same way as if they did a Hulk movie and the fucking Hulk smashes through the goddamn concrete wall and opens his mouth, and instead of saying Hulk smash, he talked like Kenny Olivier, people would laugh and it'd be the end of the Hulk. It has to sound and look and have a backstory and a fucking understanding of who this guy is all together. And I don't think that anybody has put that together yet that I've seen.
Well, on the topic of AEW Dynamite, obviously your take on Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho's segment got a lot of attention. Yeah. Some people thought you were being a little bit hypocritical. And actually, I guess on that wavelength, here's our next question. On Twitter, using the hashtag CornyDriveThru from Ben Salmon, with the Hardy Pyro situation on Dynamite in mind, what was your opinion of Undertaker and Kane being able to shoot lightning at certain points? And that was the big thing I heard from people was, how come Jim didn't complain about the Undertaker stuff or the Kane supernatural stuff?
Because they didn't ask me about it, or I would. I am now. I hated it. I don't hate the idea that the Undertaker can come out in the dark arena and raise his fucking hands on the corner of the ring and the pyro goes off. That's part of the fucking entrance. We've got that by now, right? He's not magically doing it. We know that the pyro guy blows his pyro off when he raises his hands. I think it was Survivor Series 93, the casket match, where it was him and Yokozuna in a casket match, but Royal Rumble 94. Yeah. 2 months off. 12 heels just come out right in front of the referee and just kick shit out of him and throw him in the Undertaker and throw him in the casket. No baby faces come to help. And then when he goes in the casket and they close the lid, well, then suddenly he appears on screen and says something. And then an Undertaker figure is raised to heaven. I just got there. I'd just been there 6 months, and we had the deal going with trading talent with Smoky Mountain and the WWF. So I didn't want to just be Jim Cornette, but I was so embarrassed of that. If you notice and you go back and watch that match, I stay out of sight as much as possible, hid behind the ring post and let them do what they were going to do, because I was trying to salvage our business relationship, or not salvage it. Nothing was going wrong with it, but it would have if I'd have said what I really thought. But it was embarrassing, and I didn't want anybody in Knoxville to see it. And I thought it was unnecessary. For Undertaker's gimmick was still a badass gimmick. They put it, nobody expected people to really believe that he was an undead fucking creature from beyond the grave, but boy, he sure looked like he ought to be. And you could kind of buy into it if they didn't get ridiculous, because he could work, and he really was that size, and he had the fucking voice and the promo and the look and the mannerisms, and Paul Bearer added to him. He didn't just disappear in the middle of the ring. He never worked with invisible opponents. I was not there, but I recall one. I think somebody said they did have a fucking firefight, him and Kane, where they were flinging lightning bolts at each other, which is bullshit. I never minded the entrances, pyro, but when you've got a guy trying to fight someone else and they're fucking pointing and things are blowing up next to them, that's bullshit, and they didn't need it. Because both Glenn and Taker were so talented and had such good matches and had gotten over by beating people and by being awesome. You didn't need to go into the supernatural as much as just tease it. People still bring up the fucking mummy in Smoky Mountain. Well, you booked a 3,000-year-old mummy. No, I fucking didn't. I booked the mummy because Rick Rubin wanted a mummy. But I booked a 7-foot, 350-pound guy in a mummy outfit that had a goofy, crazy manager that claimed that he was a 3,000-year-old mummy. And the announcer said, well, obviously he's not a 3,000-year-old mummy, but what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And by the way, look how big he is. He's a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier than these guys he's wrestling. He's kicking a shit out of them. And then we tried to make it so that because what if that was a real situation, the manager would be playing mind games and would want you to think that he was a 3,000-year-old mummy, because that's part of psyching his opponents out. So we did the fucking interview where Rob Mazy was the guy in the mummy outfit, Prince Karras. He put the glove on, but he bent one finger up, and we filled the middle finger of the glove up with sand. And fucking Daryl Van Horn, Jim Mitchell, the devil himself, baby. He does the interview about whoever the fuck the mummy's opponent is, and you don't believe that he comes from ancient Egypt. And he takes a pair of scissors and he cuts the fucking guy's finger off, and sand falls out. And Dutch Mantell, I think, was doing color. He goes, what the hell? And Bob Caudle like, oh shit, because we don't know how he's doing this shit, but we know he's not a fucking mummy. But if we had had the mummy appear or disappear, or showed the time machine that he stepped out of, or actually going over and above anything that's believable, it gets stupid. It's believable when you could have a 7-foot guy like The Undertaker or Kane wearing these fucking outfits, conducting themselves as they do, hitting each other hard, and being cool. And that's the cool part, is they're not really undead or monsters or whatever, but when they do something that kind of sort of is like, well, how the fuck did he do that? That's the cool part. But when it's just blatantly on the surface of it ridiculous, that goes the other direction, and it just makes it a clown show, and it hurts the talent in the eyes of the people instead of helping, because now they're not going to believe something that might even be believable that you do in the future, because you've already done so much hoo-ha. Of course, with the WWF over the last 10, 15 years or however long, how much more hoo-ha can you do? Nobody's even trying to believe it anymore, obviously. That's why the fucking business is in the shape it's in. We're fewer people than ever are watching it. I say fewer people. People say wrestling's hotter than ever before right now. Well, it may be hotter than fucking 4 years ago in April. But in all seriousness and legitimacy, if you look at the attendances, the number of wrestlers making a living, the number of people going to live matches, the number of people watching wrestling on television, over a decade by decade basis, has it ever been worse? It was certainly much bigger in the 90s. It was even bigger than that in the 80s because the national TV shows took up all the oxygen. But the 80s, more people were watching wrestling on TV than during the Attitude Era because there was fucking 20-something regional territories and each one had broadcast television in every major market in their area. And the 70s was bigger than that. And then the 50s boom period with network television was bigger than all of them. So anyway, to answer the basic question, no, I didn't like it when The Undertaker or Kane or anybody else did ridiculous, hokey, supernatural shit instead of cool shit that could be explained, but it was sort of like that you looked sideways like, holy shit, how the fuck did he pull that off? That's the cool thing about wrestling, not, oh, wow, he just appeared out of a fucking time machine. It's ridiculous, and it doesn't do anybody any good. And Mark Henry having sex with a fucking transvestite fucking mannequin, or Mae Young giving birth to Mark Henry's baby and ends up it's a hand, or what, all that Triple H fucking the fucking corpse of Katie Vick. It was all stupid and goofy. That's what part of the thing that after the Attitude Era was over with, when WCW was out of business, that's part of the reason why all those WCW fans never watched wrestling anymore. Because they were fans of WCW because it was the offshoot of the shit they could actually believe. They didn't want phony fucking hokey cartoon wrestling. And they never came back to this day. Because all they see now is phony hokey cartoon wrestling. So no, I never defended that shit. But I'm just not asked about it in the same fucking breath as what we're seeing right now in front of us.
Our next question, Jim, sent in the CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Steve in Maryland. Do you think AJ Styles is this generation's Shawn Michaels?
Oh, God, no. I like AJ. No, AJ has never had a drug problem. He's never, that I know of, refused to drop a title or do a job. He's never been a bully and a prick to the people in the locker room with him, his co-workers and his employers. He's a spectacular performer, but not in the same way as Michaels. They have a completely different style. I see no similarity whatsoever.
What about in-ring work?
Well, that's why it's still completely different style. The only thing they're going for is he the best athletic performer in this decade, like Michaels probably was almost everybody says was in the 90s. And even when you go back, it's still different. There were so many different styles of wrestler who used different styles of wrestling in the 90s that you can say that Michaels was the smoothest, spectacular athletic performer, but Bret Hart's shit looked a lot more realistic or legitimate. So there's arguments to be made there, but now AJ is so smooth and he's done it for so long, and he finally picked up a little bit of the promo because that was death for quite some time for hear AJ talk. But there's so many other guys now that are doing a lot of that stuff. It's just that AJ generally does it better, smoother, looks a little bit fucking snugger, and he does it on a more night in, night out basis, or at least he has every time I've seen him. But I don't know that now there's not a lot of different styles of wrestler. It's all guys either doing the hardcore shit, fucking working WWE style, or doing this outlaw indie flippy floppy stuff. And, everybody pretty much generally fits in one of those three categories. So I don't know if I don't know that AJ is particularly that far ahead of any number of other people in the business right now, but he's been consistent and does it a little bit better and has done it for longer. Does that make any sense?
Makes some sense. Our next question, Jim, sent in to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Paul in Connecticut. What do you think about the story that CM Punk's return was shot down by Vince McMahon? Have you heard about this?
Have you heard about this? Have you read about this? I saw on the internet there was a quote that Vince said, he's just the one man I can't do business with. Of course, we've heard that about a couple of other men, though.
But it's interesting because apparently the story goes, and who knows how accurate it is, CM Punk's representatives got in touch with WWE and said, would you guys be open to him doing something? And Vince had that attitude. And it's interesting because CM Punk didn't really do much, I guess, for the ratings of that backstage show when it was on. But what does this say about Punk with the future with the WWE? But also, if that's Vince's attitude, what value does he have for AEW?
Well, he would have value for AEW if they had CM Punk on their television show. That would be a boon to them because he's a major name and he's a fish that got away. However, he really botched it with the way he returned to television. I don't know what his relationship is with Vince, but it hurt me to hear that his representatives reached out because I was like, here, the modern day Jack Briscoe, this is the one guy that's going to walk away and say, fuck you and mean it. Right. Whether he comes back to wrestling, at least he would not come back to the WWE. And I was pulling for him to do that because somebody needs to. So I hate to think that he's the one that asked them if he could come back. And we haven't heard him say that that's the case to verify that. But to come back to television at the level of star he was and the people that chanted for a while, we want Punk or CM Punk or whatever. And still that if you did something on a national show with a big splash, he would mean something and he can talk his ass off. I don't know what his work's like these days. He's been out of the ring 5 years or whatever, but he's a personality. But to come back on a show about a show, WWE backstage, as like, you're not a star on Walking Dead, you're a guest on Talking Dead. Fuck that. For him to have come back just to do a TV show about a TV show, and then not even be the host of it or be a regular, be the star of it, just pop in every now and then. It's like, he suddenly became, if it was a movie, he wouldn't be the star, he'd be the best friend. He's a supporting actor now. He's just a fucking guy that Bob said that was a major mistake to come back to anything wrestling related. I'm not saying he couldn't do a bit part in a movie or any TV show or whatever, but in the wrestling genre, if he was not going to come back and make a splash at a major fucking pay-per-view or a big national television show on the show in an angle, whether it be AEW, WWE or whatever, just to pop up and say hello on WWE backstage, that was not the greatest thing to do.
The idea that Vince is saying that's the one guy I can't do business with. Have you ever heard him talk about anyone else like that?
Well, Savage.
You heard that though?
Well, he's been quoted as saying, I will not do business with that man. I never brought his fucking name up after. I was there when Savage was still there before he left. And after he left, I saw how pissed Vince was. And I was never going to be the one to say, hey, why don't we see what Savage is doing? Fuck that. I didn't want to get a mallet upside my head. But I know Punk has been a complete nightmare for them to try to do business with. And also he had that great line with Triple H where he said, I don't need to work with you. You need to work with me. And so now the son-in-law is fucking hot. And he made it plain that he didn't want to wrestle anymore. He did the whole UFC thing. I think Vince is like, fuck it. I'm not going to fucking waste my time and stress over this guy. It's not worth it. I'm still far enough ahead. Man, I'm not saying that CM Punk is in the wrong because if all the misery that he went through, which you can't make all that shit up. He had some misery. Generally when I say fuck it, I'm done with somebody, fuck it, I'm done for fucking life. Every once in a while I'll go back to the same company, but only with a complete change in management. And even that's not very often. As I've said before, if you have a miserable experience and hate your life when you're dealing with somebody, why do you want to go back again?
You know, Brodie Lee had an interesting comment in that Jericho interview. He said that he remembered talking to CM Punk, and CM Punk, who obviously had a lot of issues with WWE, even when he was there, he said that the thing about WWE is everything could be better. Like anything you think about, anything you do, anything that's going on, everything could be better. And I think that's really interesting.
Well, it's true because it's gotten bigger than a wrestling promotion is supposed to be. I've said it before, wrestling should never have been national to begin with. Wrestling, the regional territories were the perfect way to present wrestling because you had wrestling everywhere, but the specific wrestling that you had in places was the specific kind of wrestling that those people in those places would like. And whether it was crazy fucking fights and, you know, bloody fucking brawls in Memphis or technical wrestling in Florida mixed with some bloody brawls or, you know, the fucking big guys in the Northeast or the, you know, fucking the Little East Tennessee territory was completely different than the Memphis territory because those people definitely knew what real fights looked like. And so they did hard ways and all that bullshit that I don't say bullshit fondly, you know, to make people believe in that small area. But you had the regional promotions were tailored to the places that they ran, but it was still overall professional wrestling. You can't have one style of fucking wrestling and present it everywhere because that doesn't work. And then you can't do anything locally. So WWE has gotten so big, it could all be better, but there's so many people involved, so many channels to go through, so much bullshit, the PG shit, the publicly traded shit. You can't offend anybody. Heaven knows somebody was to grab somebody's ass in a fucking locker room or something. There'd probably be a goddamn hanging over it. So you can't present wrestling the same way all across the country because different regions have different people that like different shit. And I saw old Uncle Dave actually. He lived there and he still couldn't get this. Somebody asked him, said, well, was JYD really as over in Mid-South? Or I can't remember what the question was, but there was a comparison of Kerry Von Erich and JYD. And Dave, for a period of about a year, lived in Oklahoma because he lived in North Texas and went to the matches in Oklahoma because he worked for a newspaper down there. I think it was Wichita Falls. Anyway, he said, well, when I saw those Mid-South shows live in Oklahoma City, Kerry Von Erich's pop was just as big as JYD's. Well, all things being equal, yes, it was. But here's the problem. All things weren't equal. JYD first got over in New Orleans and Louisiana and Mississippi because that was where Mid-South Wrestling promoted in 1980 and 81. The states of Louisiana and Mississippi. They didn't take over from Leroy McGurk, the rest of his tri-state territory, Oklahoma and Arkansas, until 1982. So the people in Oklahoma had never seen JYD's first 2 years, the formative 2 years where he became God in New Orleans, and saw all those angles to get the full flavor of the history. But they were seeing the Dallas TV with the Von Erichs from World Class because not only was it syndicated across the country, but in Oklahoma before it was syndicated across the country because that was a 3-hour drive from Dallas. World Class was on local television in those Oklahoma towns even when Leroy McGurk was still promoting.
And didn't Fritz own a piece of Oklahoma City?
Fritz owned a piece. Yes, that's why that Kerry or, you know, a few of the other Dallas stars would appear in the early years, at least. I don't know if he kept it past 84 or early 85 when they had the falling out and quit trading talent so much. But yes, you'd see Dallas guys go up to Oklahoma because there was a financial interest there, a minor one. That's also why JYD, they didn't annex Houston into Mid-South until late 1983. 82, I'm sorry. All right, savant. But Paul Bosch, because he booked his own cards, even when he was using the San Antonio talent, he would bring in Dusty Rhodes. He'd bring in Andre the Giant, and he'd bring in JYD. So the people in Houston saw JYD before it ever even became a Mid-South town. And so he was over there. And also, here's another thing. Let's just face it. You've got a fucking Texas cowboy, second-generation wrestler like Kerry Von Erich in Oklahoma, against, and your other babyface is a black guy. Well, there wasn't a lot of black people in Oklahoma. So while JYD was a god in New Orleans, especially at the downtown Municipal Auditorium, he wasn't as naturally a god in Oklahoma City when he started showing up there 2 or 3 years later. But here's this fucking all-American boy that looked just like them, or just like they wanted their kids to look, Kerry Von Erich, and naturally they're going to fucking go crazy over him. But they still like dog in Oklahoma. But he didn't have that bond with those people. The run didn't last as long, and it wasn't such a natural fit. Take Kerry Von Erich to fucking, New Orleans, and he's still going to be over, but the dog had him. Jackson, Mississippi, same thing. It depended on who had seen the evolution of these guys from the start, who understood the history, and what geographic appeal those individuals had.
Well, we got there somehow from CM Punk.
Oh, so Punk. Going back to Punk. Well, you said the WWE, everything could be better. Everything could be better, but it's too big. It's too big. Wrestling was not meant to be promoted nationally with publicly traded companies that have to worry about hurting people's fucking feelings. So everything could be better. But by the time it goes through and gets washed and sanitized, and everybody has a turn at fucking the idea up that you had to begin with or whatever. And then, Vince still thinks this should be Disney and entertainment. And people are, they're revolting against his type of entertainment. Now the other company has made it, where the fan du jour is that, they appeal to the people that think this is supposed to be funny and silly and stupid and showbiz. And they laugh that anybody ever took it seriously. And that's just a limited amount of people too. Just like the people that are still going to fucking put up with this goddamn, people doing special effects falling off of fucking high places and not being splattered into a million pieces because it's television. It's just all entertainment now, just a different level of entertaining or a different level of stupid.
Well, a couple more questions before we wrap up and play a couple songs. This was sent in to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Daniel in Nottingham, United Kingdom. How did Fritz Von Erich...
As a matter of fact, while I was over there, I met the sheriff.
Sheriff of Nottingham.
Sheriff of Nottingham. He was a hell of a guy.
All right, Friar Tuck. How did Fritz Von Erich transition from a hated Nazi heel gimmick to having the biggest territory in Texas? Did it break kayfabe back then when he didn't speak with a German accent?
Well, the answer to that is that was before my time, and I'm not sure exactly how they pulled it off otherwise than when Fritz went originally. Fritz Von Erich was a huge star, especially up in the Northeast and the Buffalo and Toronto area, but all across the country in the 1950s. He was bigger than most guys were back then. He had that rough voice. He had that fucking look with the, the crew cut, and he had those big fucking mitts. His hands were huge. That's why the claw was kind of come up with, and it became something that a lot of German wrestlers did, but he had those big fucking hands. But he'd been a star football player at Southern Methodist University. So in, the early 60s, maybe, or mid 60s at best, he decides he's going to get off the road. His oldest son, Jackie, had already been electrocuted in that trailer park that they were living in up in the Buffalo territory. And he decided he was going to get off the road, take his wife, Doris, and his sons, and they were going to move back to Texas. And he was actually going to move to Corpus Christi and open up like a fishing and boating and bait thing or whatever the fuck and raise his family. And he stopped off in Dallas to take some bookings and it ended up getting over so fucking strong that he never left and ended up buying into the local office there from, oh, goddamn, just say the fucking promoter's name and I'll, because
Ed McLemore.
Ed McLemore. Thank you very much. So he ended up not only getting over as the top guy, but then buying into the office and then eventually owning the whole thing. So it was an accident to begin with. And when he first came in as Fritz Von Erich, I'm pretty sure that he was a heel. A Dallas historian would be able to tell us better, but people knew that was a little more than 10 years after he'd been a big time SMU football player. And so they kind of knew anyway. And then they just, I'm sure they probably did a heel versus heel program, maybe something with him and Bull Curry or Johnny Valentine or whatever. And slowly, like, Austin, the people started getting behind him. He kept the name Fritz Von Erich. And just all of a sudden, he didn't do the Nazi thing. He didn't do anything German. He just called himself Fritz Von Erich, but he talked normally and became the toughest man in the state of Texas in the eyes of the wrestling fans.
His sons were the All-American boys.
Yes, and there was as much truth to that as there was to him being a Nazi. But no, I like the boys. I don't have anything against them. I like Kevin. I like Kevin's sons, but everybody knows that they were not exactly, they were all American, but they weren't exactly squeaky clean. They weren't like drinking the milk, like the picture of Kerry and Michael Hayes. Hayes has the Southern Comfort and Kerry's got the jug of milk. Kerry would have probably been in the Southern Comfort too. But that's how it happened. And over a period of time, people accept it and then they forget about it. If it's presented in the right way, and basically the guy has to get over one way or the other. He's got to get over as a badass, and then you've got to have another. The same way that I became a babyface, for fuck's sake, and managing the Midnight Express, because a new prick came along that was as much of a prick as I was, if not more of a prick, but I was the familiar prick. I was the hometown prick. He was the out-of-town prick, Paul Heyman, Paul Lee. So even if you've got a heel, if he's from the area or if he's been there a long time and the people are familiar with him and they believe in him as being a tough guy, then if you get the right heel to bring in and put against him, you can switch him without actually doing an angle to begin with. You get the people naturally over to that guy. That's what Dusty did with us. And the Horsemen, which nobody ever switched babyface when the Midnight Express had a rivalry with the Four Horsemen. It was just, these guys are all dirty. They're all going to cheat. Oh my gosh, it's going to be wild. But then there has to be a sympathetic figure. So that's the way you lead it. And then the sympathetic figure becomes the hometown fucking hero. So that was all back in the 60s. None of the TV exists. I don't know how it was done step by step, but that was the general progression of the thing.
I think Fritz turned babyface before his big match with Gene Kiniski. So that would be 66 or 67 he turned face, probably.
Because the world champion is coming in. We've never had a world title change in Texas. We've never had the local, because, well, at that time, Dory had not even been champion. Had there been a champion from Texas? There had never been a world champion from Texas at that point in time. And that's why Fritz and Kiniski in 67, Fritz and Dory in 72 drew 26,000 people to the outdoor ballpark there, did they not, in Dallas?
Texas Stadium.
Was
it not Texas Stadium?
No, wait a minute. The Dory match may have been Texas Stadium, but the Kiniski match was before they opened Texas Stadium, but it was still so big they needed to go to a ballpark. Is that not what it was? And there was what was it, Turnpike Stadium or something like that in the 60s and down. I don't know. Point is,
you know what? I have the program right here, actually. I just grabbed it.
Well, of course you do.
June 24th, 1972. It is Texas Stadium, Fritz versus Dory Funk Jr.
Okay, I thought you meant the Kiniski program. I think the outdoor match with Kiniski was in a different place, I believe. But the point is that Fritz was able, a lot of people think that Dallas didn't take off until the Von Erich Sun started and they got the national television syndication. It had been bad for a couple of years. The late 70s were not a good time period for the Dallas territory, and it wasn't a big money territory, and that's when Houston took over as being the place where the guys on Friday nights in Houston made as much money for their payoff as they made the rest of the fucking week in the rest of the Texas territory, including Dallas and Fort Worth, because Fritz was getting older, and the people had seen him, and he was on the tail end of his career, and they never kept a lot of talent in the territory. 12 guys, maybe 14 guys, tops, half and half baby faces, half heels. And I've got Fritz's 1977 booking book that I acquired that has the gates, and you're looking at the Dallas Sportatorium doing $4,200, right? And some of those, and it wasn't a big talent territory. Houston had because Paul Bosch could do his own thing. Houston took off, but the rest of the territory was not hot. But in the 60s and early 70s, when Fritz was the man and still in his prime, and the people still believed he was going to be the world champion, when he got an NWA title match, he could put it in the big building or even Texas Stadium and draw 20-something thousand people because they believed in him and they were watching the television. And then they took a downturn, and that's when he fed the boys in and started getting them over. And then the whole thing blew up in 82, 83.
You know, and it's interesting, too, about Houston becoming the big money town, because after Fritz took over from Ed McElmore, he also took the booking office. It went from the Houston booking office to the Dallas booking office.
That's right. They used to book all the Texas talent, except for the Amarillo territory, which the Funks had, control over. All the talent in Texas, the San Antonio territory, or what would become the San Antonio territory, with Joe Blanchard as the local promoter, Dallas, Houston, they all used the same talent. And then when Fritz took Dallas over, like you said, the booking office went to Dallas, and he was booking all the talent, and that's when things started going sideways, because after his run was over, but he wouldn't really retire, but the people knew he was never going to win the title by that point because he was getting too old and it just wasn't happening. So their houses started going down. That's when Joe Blanchard in the late 70s struck out and started his own territory. That's when Paul Bosch started being even more independent and bringing his own talent in and augmenting it with Texas talent. And then, if the boys hadn't come along, Fritz would have lost control of the whole state because it was going downhill until they got over. But the one constant was Amarillo was so isolated, and anybody who has ever driven from Dallas through Amarillo and out into New Mexico can testify. The Amarillo West Texas territory was probably the most geographically isolated of any wrestling territory in the country in the 50s and 60s. And guys in major territories, if they, because Dory Funk Sr. had so much pull and so much respect, and he had trained Eddie Graham or helped train Eddie Graham and had so much pull with the NWA that he could get names to come in and work for him. But it would be a situation where, like, if you were working in a major territory and you were a star and they did an angle where you broke your leg, you go to Amarillo, because nobody knew what the fuck was going on in Amarillo in that territory. There was no crossover of television. It was just out there. And unless somebody took a vacation and watched somebody else's TV, they didn't know what the fuck was going on in the outside wrestling world. So Dory Funk Jr. was the toughest man in Texas, the toughest man or Dory Funk Sr., toughest man in wrestling. His two sons, the same thing. They were destined to be world champions from the time he started them and groomed them. Dory started in 63, and I think Terry in 65. The Sheik would come in because he and Dory Sr. were tight. The Sheik, the hottest heel in the business, would come in and work long programs and could be there half the week out in Amarillo, but the people in Detroit and nowhere else in the country wouldn't know anything about it. And it just happened that way because I have a program with Dory Funk Sr. on the cover from December 1948 which was his first week in the West Texas territory. This is a town in New Mexico. And I even fooled Terry Funk because he said, yeah, we can't, Dad came to Amarillo in 49. I said, no, he was there in 48 Christmas week. I've got a program. He said, oh, son of a gun, Corny, I didn't know that. But if Dory Funk Sr. had not gone to Amarillo and started the whole Boys Ranch thing, that later on Eddie Graham spent time learning from him and took the Boys Ranch thing to Florida, not only would Dory and Terry have never been world champions because Dory Senior would have never gotten that pull, but the whole face of wrestling would have changed with the people that Dory Senior either influenced or trained or gave a shot to, even in Baba in the 70s, right? Sent Jumbo and sent Tenryu and sent all of his young Japanese guys that he really wanted to push to West Texas to learn how to work from the Funks and their crew. So that little isolated territory was so fucking important to the entire state of the wrestling business for 25 fucking years.
Here's the card for June 24th, 72, Texas Stadium. 8 p.m., I guess because of the hot Texas summer. You couldn't do it during the day like the Parade of Champions. And this is
oh, God, that was miserable, too, boy. That was miserable. And that was in May, and it was still miserable.
Dory Funk Jr., world champion, versus Fritz Von Erich, 2 out of 3 falls. For the midget world title, Lord Littlebrook defends against Cowboy Lang, 1 fall, 1 hour time limit.
I guarantee you they didn't go an hour.
For the Texas title, Red Bastien defends against Crusher Stasiak, and that's Stan Stasiak.
Yeah.
For the American Championship, the Spoiler defends against Billy Red Lyons. Special event, the Alaskan versus Mil Mascaras. Special event.
Well, wait a minute. Let me jump in there. The Parade of Champions obviously has to have a lot of titles on the line. That's why even the midget title, because Littlebrook had a belt, actually. He had a nice little belt, and Littlebrook booked the midgets. Mascaras was there for the Hispanic audience because he was the top lucha star in the world at that point, top box office attraction. So they would bring him in to the big shows in Texas to draw the Hispanic audience. Go ahead.
Special event, George Scott versus Tommy Siegler.
George Scott at that point was the booker, was he not? Because that's before
before Mid-Atlantic, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't go to Mid-Atlantic until 74. So he was the booker at that point. So he's on the card, and he was a former, big-time wrestling star.
Here's the match I would want to see. The only tag team match apparently on the show. Team match, El Santo and Jose Lothario versus Terry Funk and Mr. Fuji.
What Funk and Fuji. Santo, of course, they got Mascaras. The Santo's the other one. And even though that was the downhill slide of his career for age at that point. And Jose Lothario, especially in Houston and in South Texas, but he was huge in Dallas also. Lothario was a Texas fucking legend. So you had basically you could draw from 2 different audiences at that point. You could draw from the lucha audience, that the Hispanic audience that wanted to see their heroes, and the fucking good old Texas Cowboys that wanted to see their heroes.
And then the final match listed here, I don't know how this went, an 8-man, $2,000 Russian roulette. Joe Blanchard, Pedro Godoy, Apache Gringo, Gory Guerrero, Dean Ho, Frank Monty, Mike Padusis, and Bearcat Wright to a finish.
Wow.
Was that a battle royal, or what was an 8-man roulette?
A battle royal, $2,000 prize. Yeah, I think they used to call them Russian roulette battle royals down in Texas at that point in time. It would have gone the way Bearcat Wright wanted it to go if he didn't want to fucking go over the top rope. But I have a feeling he probably wanted to get out of that clusterfuck as quickly as possible.
This was actually Bearcat Wright's return to Texas for the first time in 2 years. He had been a star there a few years before this.
And then he may have been winning it.
And then here's the lineup, or here are the matches for the next week. Which show would you have preferred? Monday night in Fort Worth, the main event, Valentine. I don't know why he's not on this show. Valentine and the Spoiler versus Bearcat and Bastien. plus Monty versus Mascaras, Godoy versus Lyons, Lothario versus Siegler, the Alaskan versus Ho, and regular prices. And then the next night, Tuesday at the Sportatorium, main event, Johnny Valentine versus Red Bastien, with Godoy versus Mascaras, Paducas versus Siegler, Ho and Lothario versus the Alaskan and Monty, also regular prices. Tickets, $1.50 and up.
Boy, Valentine and Red Bastien was one of the best babyface workers in the business at one time, and at that time. So that probably would have been a corker. And you see also George Scott using Johnny Valentine heavily on top. That's the first person he called when he got the spot in the Carolinas to come in, was Johnny Valentine, to kick the whole thing off and change from a tag team territory to nationally known singles, from the local guys that were over in that region to nationally known names. He brought Johnny Valentine in to kick the whole thing off, and Wahoo McDaniel, who was huge at that point in time in Texas also. We were down one time it was a WCW event because Wahoo was an agent by that point, when Turner Broadcasting had taken over, but we were in, oh God, I think it was either Midland or Odessa, Texas. And Wahoo brought a newspaper in that some fan had brought up and showed him when he played football out there, high school football. He made the fucking paper for scoring, 72 touchdowns or whatever he did. He just dominated everything. But there was a little small article right below the article talking about this great, Ed McDaniel, our great high school football star at Midland fucking high school or wherever we went. There was a little fucking ad down, concert, country music, so-and-so, so-and-so, and Elvis Presley. He said, look, I've been on top longer than Elvis. It was like from 1955 or whatever. But yeah, those guys were an integral part of George Scott's whole fucking philosophy. So a lot of those names nobody today will remember, and a number of those names they shouldn't. But some of those guys were an integral part of that territory and drew a ton of money back then.
Well, since that question went long, that will be our final question here this week, Jim.
Oh, shucks. I got to get back to packing packages.
And with that, we wrap up this episode of the Drive Thru.
Woo!
I want to remind everyone, the new Patreon, patreon.com/Cornette. The first tier up right now for $5 a month to get access to the archives. Another batch of show added each and every week, usually on a Sunday night. Plus, we just got a couple more compilations of you cursing on the show. Those are going up in the $5 tier. And right now in the $5 tier, you can see synced up video and audio, the first 5-star match with Jim doing commentary over it. Patreon.com/Cornette. More tiers and more content coming in the month of April.
Sign up now, because we're going to be doing some of those watch with yous and watch with me's and reviews and all sorts of things.
Of course, you can catch up on the experience when it comes out each and every Friday, or the Drive-Thru, wherever you find your favorite podcast, or on the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. We are storming towards 100,000 subscribers. tinyurl.com/official corny YouTube, or just go to YouTube, search for Jim Cornette. It will be the first thing that pops up, and you get to see the amazing Travis Heckel artwork. He is killing it each and every time. There's one of you as the Doctor and New Jack as Michael Myers right now that I think everyone needs to see.
Ah, Dr. Loomis. And by the way, I did go to the doctor to get checked out, make sure I didn't have the coronavirus and everything, and he gave me a complete thorough checkup. He even did a thing where he sticks his finger up my ass, and I don't know how the fuck he did it. He had both his hands on my shoulders at the same time.
Once again, the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Jim Cornette. Of course, you can follow Jim on Twitter at @TheJimCornette. You can follow me on Twitter at @GreatBrianLast. You can hear me on the 605 Superpodcast. 605pod.com are available wherever it is that you find your favorite podcast. Don't forget, Cornette's Collectibles at JimCornette.com. What's going on this week, Jim? You completely throw me for a loop.
Just mad panic. The definition of bedlam is a wild scene of mad panic. We got bedlam. Not even Bruiser Bedlam, just Bedlam at JimCornette.com. Get the orders in as quick as you can. We're all going to be here a while together with ourselves alone again naturally. So I'm getting this stuff out as quickly as possible. I mentioned that at the top of the program. And also programming next week. Remember, the next drive-thru is on Tuesday the 7th, the WrestleMania review. This week's Jim Cornette Experience, we're going to see if AEW tries to do anything again, apparently. But also, you've got a poll out there on Twitter. We're going to be reviewing something off the WWE Network. A lot of people talking about this Legends House. I've never seen that, but we'll see who wins the poll. And then remember to watch Dark Side of the Ring on New Jack on Vice TV this coming Tuesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern. But the big news and the most important news, the Experience on Friday, April 10th, for the first time ever on a mainstream platform. Kevin Sullivan will tell the story of his relationship with Nancy and the happenings of the obviously the whole tragedy and the situation that was the subject of last week's Vice TV Dark Side of the Ring episode. We don't want to miss that. Tell your friends, or even if you don't have any friends, make some so you can tell them. That's all I got.
Don't forget, Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru is sponsored by the Law Office of Stephen P. New, 888-692-8084. Get even with Stephen at newlawoffice.com, and he will be on the next Drive-Thru, debuting a week and a day from when this Drive-Thru debuts, next Tuesday, the next episode of the Drive-Thru. But until then, and until Friday on The Experience, for Jim Cornette, I'm the great Brian Last. Tally-ho!
Woohoo!